Do you fear the possibility of a Russian invasion? Are you preparing for that? And do you feel confident in that, in such a horrible scenario, that NATO and the United States in particular would come to your aid?
Well, I don't really anticipate anything like that right now. Well, we are, in terms of what we're doing to prepare, we have been for quite a while one of the very, very few countries in NATO that actually does spend the agreed upon 2% of GDP on defense that everyone in NATO has agreed to, but it's currently only Estonia, the UK, and Poland and Greece, though the last country doesn't ever do anything outside of Greece. It's kind of but I mean, these of the countries, I mean, that's a very small minority of countries in Europe, in NATO, that actually spend on defense. And so the last question is, what happens if, I'm really not worried about NATO not doing what it needs to do, precisely because as soon as NATO fails, NATO's over. Which means that, okay, what would be a possible scenario that NATO would, well, say country X in the Mediterranean says, no, we won't do it. Well, I don't think that is possible. Or we won't support going to a fellow NATO member's assistance because, in fact, you know that after that, no one's going to come to your assistance either. And I mean, and it is in the interest of every government in NATO to be in NATO, to have that security shield, because that once it's gone, it's gone. And also, I think it's important to keep in mind, because especially when you get all these articles about it, on X or something, which just comes more from alliteration than anything else, but it's not was an Estonian city on the border. There's a long way from say, from something, I mean, from a response to, say, an incursion to nuclear war. I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, we already saw what sanctions have done. We haven't even gone sort of so-called nuclear on that. I mean, all the United States has to do is turn off SWIFT. And in 48 hours, there's nothing left of the economy. I mean, if you turn off SWIFT to the Russian, you don't need a nuclear war. You don't even need a major military intervention. You just turn off SWIFT and the economy is gone. I mean, so the range of responses is far greater than all or nothing. Someone attacks and we launch nuclear missiles against Petersburg, Moscow, and Ekaterinburg. I mean, I think this is part of the mistake made in thinking about the security dilemma. And it's not like a binary decision. There are just many, many gradations, and I think that that's always taken into account.